What if starting seeds indoors didn't need grow lights, gadgets, or store-bought kits? The Amish have quietly mastered it using 25 simple tricks, most hiding in plain sight. From kitchen scraps to wood stove warmth, these time-tested methods can change how you grow, before spring even begins. Muffin tray. Trick to grow stronger seedlings. Those metal muffin trays gathering dust in your kitchen cabinet? The Amish have been turning them into perfect seed starting stations for generations, proving that the best gardening tools are often hiding in plain sight. These homemakers discovered that metal conducts heat beautifully, warming up quickly when placed near wood stoves or in sunny spots. The warmth gives seeds exactly what they need for faster germination, especially during those chilly early spring days when you're itching to get your garden started. Each individual cup in the tray keeps seedlings perfectly spaced, making transplanting a breeze instead of a wrestling match with tangled roots. The sturdy metal construction means these trays will outlast countless planting seasons, unlike flimsy plastic alternatives that crack after a year or two. Plus, they're incredibly easy to clean between uses. Just scrub them down and they're ready for next season's batch of seedlings. Metal muffin trays naturally create the ideal growing environment that commercial seed starting equipment tries to replicate at 10 times the cost. Eggshell seed pods. Breaking eggs for breakfast takes on new meaning when you follow this time-tested Amish approach. Families carefully crack their eggs throughout winter, saving the larger halves for spring planting season. Children in Amish households often learn their first gardening lessons by carefully placing seeds into these natural containers, making it a perfect family activity that teaches patience and responsibility. The calcium-rich shell provides a slow-release nutrient boost as it gradually breaks down in the soil. This eliminates the guesswork of when and how much fertilizer to add during those crucial early growing weeks. When transplant time arrives, you simply plant the entire shell directly into your garden bed. The roots grow right through the shell walls, completely avoiding transplant shock that can set back seedlings for weeks. It's like the eggs decided to crack the code on perfect gardening. This method transforms kitchen waste into valuable growing containers while giving your plants a natural head start with built-in nutrition that beats any store-bought fertilizer. Wood ash soil additive. Amish gardeners never waste the ash from their wood stoves, especially when it comes to seed starting. Every shovelful of ash represents warmth that kept the family cozy through winter, and now it serves a second purpose in the garden. A tiny pinch of this gray powder mixed into their seed-starting soil provides potassium, one of the most important minerals for strong root development. Most gardeners don't realize that robust roots during the seedling stage determine how well plants will perform throughout the entire growing season. Wood ash also acts as a natural pH balancer, counteracting the acidity that builds up in reused potting mixes. This is particularly valuable for Amish families who stretch their resources by reusing soil year after year. The older generation especially relies on this technique for their prized heirloom vegetables like tomatoes and beets, which need just the right soil conditions to thrive. The key is using just a pinch, not a handful. Too much ash can make soil too alkaline, creating problems instead of solutions. Bottom heat from stove or fridge. Heat rises, and Amish families have mastered this basic physics principle for decades. They position seed trays on surfaces that capture residual warmth from wood stoves, creating the perfect germination environment without any electricity. This gentle bottom heat mimics the natural soil warming that happens in late spring, tricking seeds into thinking it's time to sprout and get to work. Modern homes can replicate this effect by placing trays on top of refrigerators, where the motor's heat creates a consistently warm surface. Peppers, tomatoes, and other heat-loving plants respond dramatically to this technique, often germinating days earlier than they would at room temperature. The difference between 65 degrees and 75 degrees might seem small, but it's huge in seed starting terms. These seeds get the VIP treatment sitting on top of the fridge, living the high life before they hit the dirt. Smart Amish gardeners rotate their trays daily to prevent hot spots that can cook seeds instead of gently warming them. The only product we'll ever promote on our channel is a book by Claude Davis, a veteran prepper, about 126 superfoods and preservation methods from crisis times like the Great Depression and wartime that are impossible to find elsewhere. We decided to promote his book because we are the last generation able to share these techniques and superfoods to our children or grandchildren. It would be a shame to see this information about highly nutritious foods and preservation methods to survive crises disappear. You can also find a book about herbal remedies from Nicola Pelian on their store. If you're watching this on TV, you can look up our channel, Frugal Solutions, on your phone or tablet and find the books by clicking the link in our channel description or any other video description. Pre-soaking large seeds. Those big, tough seeds like beans, corn, and squash have thick outer coats that can take forever to soften naturally. Amish farmers discovered long ago that an overnight soak transforms these stubborn seeds into eager sprouters. The water penetrates the hard shell, softening it just enough to allow the tiny plant inside to break free much faster than nature intended. This technique becomes especially valuable during early spring when soil temperatures are still cool and germination naturally takes longer. Soaked seeds can sprout in half the time, giving you a significant head start on the growing season. The timing is crucial, though. You must plant immediately after soaking to prevent the seeds from rotting in their softened state. Every Amish farming community has perfected this method as part of their spring preparation rituals. They soak seeds the night before planting day, ensuring everything is ready when weather conditions are perfect. This advanced planning approach eliminates the disappointment of poor germination rates that frustrate gardeners who skip this simple step. Newspaper pots. Amish families turn yesterday's news into tomorrow's garden success with this clever pot-making technique. Using old newspapers and mason jars as forms, they create biodegradable containers that eliminate transplant shock entirely. The process involves rolling newspaper strips around jars to form small pots that hold soil and seeds perfectly, transforming what others throw away into valuable gardening tools. These newspaper pots break down naturally in the soil, allowing roots to grow through the walls without restriction. Unlike plastic pots that can create root-bound plants, newspaper containers actually encourage healthy root development. The paper decomposes slowly, providing structure during the crucial early weeks while gradually releasing into the soil. The newspapers finally found their true calling. Instead of just delivering news, they deliver vegetables. Farm publications and regular newspapers work equally well, though many Amish families prefer the thicker paper from agricultural magazines. This method costs practically nothing while providing better results than expensive peat pots. Cinnamon as antifungal. The same spice that makes your morning toast delicious also protects seedlings from deadly fungal diseases. Amish seed starters discovered that sprinkling ground cinnamon on damp soil surfaces prevents the dreaded damping off disease that can wipe out entire trays of seedlings overnight. This natural fungicide works without harming beneficial soil microorganisms that help plants grow strong and healthy. Humid conditions inside Amish homes during late winter create perfect environments for mold and fungus growth. A light dusting of cinnamon creates an invisible protective barrier that stops these problems before they start. The sweet smell is just a bonus. What matters is the powerful antifungal compounds that keep your seedlings healthy. Unlike chemical fungicides that can be harsh on delicate seedlings, cinnamon is gentle enough for the most sensitive vegetable and herb starts. The protection lasts for weeks, giving seedlings time to develop strong immune systems naturally. This kitchen cabinet solution proves that effective gardening doesn't require expensive specialized products when traditional wisdom points the way. Lunar phase planting. Some Amish communities time their seed starting according to moon cycles, a practice passed down through generations of successful farmers. This traditional knowledge connects plant growth to lunar phases, with leafy crops like lettuce started during the waxing moon when upward energy is strongest. Root vegetables like carrots get planted during the waning moon when energy flows downward into the soil. While modern science debates the effectiveness of lunar gardening, many Amish families swear by results they've observed over decades. The practice requires careful attention to moon phases and planting seed starting around these natural cycles. Whether the moon actually influences plant growth or not, this method encourages thoughtful timing and attention to natural rhythms that industrial agriculture often ignores. The moon gets tired of just controlling tides and decides to moonlight as a gardening consultant. The oral tradition of lunar planting varies between communities, with some families following complex charts while others stick to simple rules passed down through generations. DIY wooden crate greenhouse. Old potato crates find new life as mini greenhouses in Amish seed starting operations. These sturdy wooden boxes get topped with clear plastic sheeting or salvaged window glass to create perfect growing environments that cost almost nothing to build. The wood provides insulation while the clear covering traps heat and moisture naturally, creating ideal conditions for germination without any fancy equipment. These portable greenhouses work perfectly on porches or sunny window ledges during unpredictable early spring weather. When temperatures drop unexpectedly, the covers provide protection. When it gets too warm, they lift off easily for ventilation. This flexibility makes them superior to rigid commercial alternatives that can't adapt to changing conditions. The construction requires basic carpentry skills, but uses materials that most farms already have on hand. Amish families often build several different sizes to accommodate various seed starting needs throughout the season. The natural wood appearance fits perfectly with traditional home aesthetics while providing modern functionality that beats expensive store-bought alternatives. Cold start for hardy plants. Not all seeds need coddling with heat and protection. Some actually prefer the tough love approach that builds character. Amish gardeners start cold hardy plants like kale and spinach in unheated mudrooms or cool porches, exposing them to temperature fluctuations from the beginning. This treatment creates stronger, more resilient plants that laugh at spring weather surprises that would kill pampered greenhouse seedlings. Cool starting temperatures encourage thicker stems and more robust root systems compared to greenhouse seedlings. These hardy plants develop natural defenses against cold stress, making them much more likely to survive unexpected late frosts. The gradual temperature changes also help plants acclimate to outdoor conditions without the shock of sudden transitions that often kill tender seedlings. These tough plants basically tell winter to bring it on, while the greenhouse babies are still asking for their blankets. Children in Amish families often take responsibility for watering these cold, hardy trays during morning chores, learning valuable lessons about plant resilience and the rewards of patience. Finger depth planting rule. The human fingertip serves as nature's perfect measuring tool, something Amish families have relied on for generations when planting seeds. This simple technique eliminates guesswork and expensive measuring devices while ensuring consistent planting depth across entire garden beds. Children in Amish communities learn this method early, using their small fingers for delicate herb seeds and watching adults demonstrate proper depth for larger vegetables. The rule follows basic plant biology. Seeds need to be planted at a depth roughly 2 to 3 times their diameter. This ensures they have enough soil contact for moisture absorption while not being buried so deep that emerging shoots exhaust their energy reserves trying to reach sunlight. Shallow planting leads to dried out seeds, while deep planting creates weak, spindly seedlings that struggle to establish properly. Different finger parts work for different seed sizes. The fingertip works perfectly for small seeds like lettuce and carrots, while the first knuckle provides ideal depth for medium seeds like beans. Large seeds like corn and squash need the full finger length for proper placement. This natural measuring system adapts automatically to the gardener's hand size, meaning children can use their smaller fingers for appropriate depths while adults use theirs for larger plantings. Temperature plays a crucial role in this technique. In cooler soil conditions, slightly shallower planting helps seeds access whatever warmth is available near the surface. Warmer soil allows for standard depth planting since heat penetrates deeper. The finger method naturally adjusts for soil conditions. Firm soil requires less depth while loose. Fluffy soil needs slightly deeper placement to ensure good seed-to-soil contact for optimal germination rates. Wool fabric moisture retainer. Clean wool fabric transforms seed starting from a daily watering chore into a self-regulating moisture system. Amish households discovered this technique when repurposing old wool clothing and blankets that had outlived their original purpose. The natural properties of wool make it superior to synthetic materials for maintaining consistent soil moisture levels without creating waterlogged conditions that kill seedlings. Wool's unique fiber structure acts like a natural sponge, absorbing excess water when soil becomes too wet and slowly releasing moisture when soil begins to dry out. This creates a buffer system that prevents the dramatic wet-dry cycles that stress young plants and often lead to germination failures. Wool apparently decided it was tired of keeping sheep warm and wanted to try keeping seeds happy instead. The technique works especially well in drafty Amish kitchens where air circulation can quickly dry out seed trays. Setting up this system requires placing clean wool cloth underneath seed trays, allowing the fabric to wick moisture from a shallow water reservoir. The wool draws water up through capillary action and distributes it evenly across the entire tray area. This eliminates dry spots that commonly occur at tray edges and corners where conventional watering often misses. Old wool garments work perfectly for this purpose after cutting them into appropriate sizes. Wool sweaters, socks, and even wool blankets can be repurposed into effective moisture retention systems. The fabric should be cleaned thoroughly before use, but doesn't need to be perfect since it's serving a utilitarian function. This method reduces watering frequency by up to half while producing more consistent germination rates across entire seed trays. Staggered seed, starting. Overwhelming transplant days become manageable garden projects when seeds are started in multiple small batches rather than one massive planting session. Amish gardeners developed this approach out of practical necessity, recognizing that family labor and garden space limitations make gradual planting more successful than attempting everything at once. This method also provides insurance against weather disasters or germination failures that could wipe out an entire season's effort. The technique involves dividing total seed quantities into 3 or 4 separate plantings, spaced several days to a week apart. Each batch receives the same careful attention, but the workload spreads over time instead of creating one overwhelming weekend of seed starting. This approach allows gardeners to learn from early batches and adjust techniques for later plantings based on what works best in their specific conditions. Staggered starting also creates continuous harvest opportunities rather than glut situations where everything ripens simultaneously. Lettuce planted in 4 weekly batches provides fresh salads for a month instead of 1 week of abundance followed by nothing. The same principle applies to herbs, radishes, and other quick-growing crops that benefit from succession planting. Garden space utilization improves dramatically with this method. Instead of needing room for hundreds of seedlings all at once, gardeners can work with smaller numbers that fit available growing space. As early batches get transplanted outdoors, their indoor space becomes available for later plantings. This rotation system maximizes limited windowsill and growing area efficiency while reducing the stress of managing large numbers of plants simultaneously. The method also allows for adjustments based on weather conditions and seasonal variations. Use south-facing windows. Natural sunlight provides the full spectrum of light energy that seeds and seedlings need for healthy development, making window placement crucial for successful indoor growing. Amish homes are often designed with gardening in mind, featuring south-facing rooms specifically chosen for their superior light exposure during late winter and early spring months. This positioning captures maximum daylight hours when the sun follows its lower winter arc across the southern sky. The intensity difference between south-facing and north-facing windows can be dramatic, often measuring 3 to 4 times more light energy on the southern exposure. This translates directly into stronger, stockier seedlings with thicker stems and more robust leaf development. The plants figured out that south-facing windows were like front-row seats to the best light show in town. Northern windows provide insufficient light for most vegetables, resulting in weak, stretchy growth that rarely recovers even after transplanting outdoors. Daily rotation prevents seedlings from leaning toward the light source and developing curved, weak stems. Amish families often assign this task to children as part of their morning chores, teaching responsibility while ensuring plants grow straight and strong. Quarter turns work better than half turns, allowing gradual adjustment without shocking the plants. Window positioning also affects temperature control. South-facing windows provide natural bottom heat during sunny days, while avoiding the extreme temperature swings that east or west windows can create. The consistent warmth helps maintain soil temperatures in the optimal 65 to 75 degree range that most vegetable seeds prefer. This natural heating reduces the need for artificial heat sources while providing more stable growing conditions than other orientations can offer. Wooden peg labels. Organization becomes critical when managing multiple seed varieties, and traditional wooden labels outlast every other marking system available to gardeners. Amish craftsmen whittle these markers from scrap wood pieces, creating custom labels that withstand moisture, temperature changes, and repeated handling throughout the growing season. Unlike paper labels that dissolve or plastic markers that become brittle, wood labels age gracefully while maintaining their functionality year after year. The creation process uses basic woodworking skills that most farming families already possess. Clothespins work excellently as ready-made labels, requiring only light sanding to prepare the surface for marking. Traditional pencil markings penetrate into the wood grain, making them resistant to fading even in humid greenhouse conditions. When seasons end, labels can be sanded clean and reused indefinitely. The wooden labels decided they were tired of just hanging around doing nothing and wanted to help identify the vegetables instead. Different wood types offer varying durability and appearance options. Cedar naturally resists rot and insects, making it ideal for long-term use. Pine and other softwoods work well for shorter-term applications and are easier to carve or mark. The labeling system prevents costly mistakes that occur when seed varieties get mixed up during the busy transplanting season. Proper identification becomes especially important when growing multiple varieties of the same vegetable, such as different tomato types or various lettuce cultivars. Clear labeling also helps with garden planning and record keeping, allowing gardeners to track which varieties perform best in their specific growing conditions. This information becomes invaluable for future season planning and seed ordering decisions. Matchstick Phosphorus Boost. A single wooden matchstick placed head down in each tomato seedling cell provides a slow-release phosphorus supplement that strengthens root development during critical early growth stages. Amish growers observed improved plant vigor when using this technique, particularly with heavy-feeding crops like tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants that benefit from extra phosphorus during establishment. The match head contains enough phosphorus compounds to support seedling growth without creating nutrient burn that chemical fertilizers sometimes cause. The placement technique requires inserting the matchstick end up, so the phosphorus-rich head sits near the root zone where developing plants can access the nutrients gradually. As soil moisture dissolves the match head compounds, phosphorus becomes available in small amounts over several weeks. This slow release matches the plant's natural uptake patterns better than quick-dissolving synthetic fertilizers that can overwhelm young root systems. Phosphorus plays essential roles in root development, flower formation, and energy transfer within plants. Deficiency symptoms include purple leaf coloring, stunted growth, and poor flowering, problems that often plague homegrown tomatoes and peppers. The matchstick method provides insurance against these issues while using readily available materials that cost virtually nothing. The matches were getting tired of just starting fires and decided to try starting vegetables instead. This technique works best with untreated wooden matches rather than safety matches or those with chemical coatings. Strike Anywhere matches contain the highest phosphorus concentrations, though any wooden match provides some benefit. The method supplements soil phosphorus rather than replacing proper soil preparation, working best when combined with quality compost and balanced soil nutrition programs that address all plant nutrient needs comprehensively. Quiet, undisturbed growth area. Constant vibrations and noise stress young seedlings more than most gardeners realize, making location selection crucial for optimal germination and early growth. Amish households designate specific quiet corners or rooms for seed starting, keeping trays away from high-traffic areas where daily activities create disturbances. Research shows that mechanical stress during germination can reduce emergence rates by up to 15% while creating weaker plants that struggle to establish properly. Kitchen locations near dishwashers, washing machines, or other vibrating appliances create subtle but continuous stress that affects root development and stem strength. Seedlings grown in quiet conditions develop stronger, more robust root systems and thicker stems compared to those subjected to regular vibrations. The difference becomes especially noticeable with delicate crops like herbs and lettuces that are naturally more sensitive to environmental stress. Sound levels also affect plant development, though the mechanisms are still being studied by agricultural researchers. Amish families have observed better germination rates in rooms away from radio playing, loud conversations, and other noise sources. Whether plants actually respond to sound waves or the observation reflects better overall care in designated quiet spaces, the practical results support maintaining calm, growing environments. The seedlings apparently prefer library quiet conditions over rock concert atmospheres for their early development. The designated growing area also benefits from consistent environmental conditions that busy spaces cannot provide. Temperature fluctuations, air circulation patterns, and light exposure remain more stable in dedicated growing rooms compared to multi-purpose spaces where doors open frequently and activities create environmental changes. This consistency allows seedlings to establish steady growth patterns without constant adaptation stress that weakens plant development and reduces transplant success rates. Compost tea for seedlings. Wheat compost tea provides gentle nutrition for seedlings after their first true leaves appear, replacing harsh chemical fertilizers with natural nutrients that won't burn delicate root systems. Amish farmers brew this liquid fertilizer using well-aged compost mixed with water at a ratio of 1 part compost to 10 parts water, creating a mild nutrient solution that feeds plants gradually. The steeping process releases water-soluble nutrients while filtering out potentially harmful bacteria that fresh compost might contain. The brewing process requires 12 to 24 hours of steeping time, allowing beneficial nutrients to dissolve while maintaining safe concentration levels for young plants. Longer steeping times don't necessarily create stronger tea. They can actually encourage harmful bacterial growth that damages rather than helps seedlings. The finished tea should smell earthy and pleasant, never sour or putrid, which indicates proper fermentation. Application timing coincides with the appearance of true leaves, which signals that seedlings have exhausted their stored seed energy and need external nutrition. Cotyledons, the first leaf-like structures, contain all the energy seeds need for initial growth, but true leaves indicate the plant is ready to process external nutrients. Earlier feeding often wastes fertilizer since seedlings cannot utilize it effectively. The compost tea decided it wanted to be the gentle parent instead of the tough love fertilizer. Spray bottle application works better than pouring, allowing precise control over application amounts while avoiding soil disturbance around delicate roots. Weekly applications provide consistent nutrition without overfeeding, which can create soft, weak growth that doesn't transplant well. The mild nature of compost tea makes it nearly impossible to overapply, providing safety margins that chemical fertilizers cannot match while building healthy soil biology that supports long-term plant health. Clay pots as humidifiers. Small unglazed clay pots transform into natural humidifiers when filled with water and placed near seed trays, providing steady moisture release that maintains optimal germination conditions. Amish households discovered this technique during dry winter months when wood heating systems remove moisture from indoor air, creating conditions too arid for successful seed starting. The porous clay walls allow water to seep through slowly, increasing local humidity without creating waterlogged soil conditions that encourage fungal problems. The evaporation rate depends on pot size, clay thickness, and surrounding air conditions, making this a self-regulating system that adjusts to environmental needs. Dry air pulls moisture from the clay more quickly, while humid conditions slow the evaporation rate naturally. This automatic adjustment provides more consistent humidity levels than manual misting, which creates temporary spikes followed by rapid drying. The clay pots finally found their calling as part-time weather stations and full-time plant babysitters. Positioning multiple small pots works better than one large container, allowing more even humidity distribution across growing areas. The pots should sit near but not touching seed trays to avoid creating wet spots that encourage mold growth while still providing localized humidity benefits. Refilling requirements vary with conditions but typically need attention every few days to maintain effectiveness. The water level indicator makes monitoring simple. When pots feel light or water levels drop noticeably, it's time to refill. Clay pot humidifiers work especially well in heated rooms where low humidity often causes soil crusting that prevents seedling emergence. This natural approach costs virtually nothing while providing more stable growing conditions than expensive humidifying equipment that requires maintenance and energy consumption. Ventilation matters. Air circulation prevents fungal diseases while strengthening seedling stems through gentle movement that mimics natural outdoor breezes. Amish homes utilize strategic window and door placement to create natural airflow patterns that benefit seed, starting without creating harsh drafts that damage tender plants. Proper ventilation removes excess moisture that encourages damping off disease while providing the carbon dioxide exchange that supports healthy photosynthesis and growth. Stagnant air creates perfect conditions for fungal spores to multiply and spread between plants, often destroying entire trays of seedlings within days. Even slight air movement disrupts fungal development while evaporating excess surface moisture that feeds these destructive organisms. The key lies in creating gentle circulation rather than direct airflow that can desiccate or damage delicate seedlings. Natural ventilation works better than mechanical systems for most home seed starting operations. Opening windows on opposite sides of a room creates cross-ventilation that moves air without creating uncomfortable drafts. This approach requires attention to outdoor temperatures and weather conditions to avoid exposing seedlings to temperature extremes that stress or kill young plants. The air decided it was tired of just sitting around and wanted to get moving to help the plants grow stronger. Mechanical ventilation using small fans provides backup options when natural airflow isn't available or sufficient. Low-speed fans running for 1 to 2 hours daily provide adequate air movement without creating excessive drying. The movement should be gentle enough that seedling leaves flutter slightly but don't bend dramatically. This controlled air circulation builds stronger stems while maintaining the protective environment that seedlings need for optimal development and successful transplanting to outdoor garden conditions. Pencil stick soil test. Simple wooden sticks become precision moisture meters when Amish farmers press them into seed-starting soil to check watering needs. This technique eliminates expensive moisture gadgets while providing accurate readings that prevent both overwatering and drought stress in developing seedlings. The method works because soil particles cling to wooden surfaces when moisture levels are adequate, while dry soil falls away cleanly from the stick. The testing process involves inserting a pencil or small wooden stick about 1 inch deep into the growing medium and examining what sticks to the surface when withdrawn. Properly moist soil will cling in small clumps without being muddy or waterlogged. Dusty, dry soil that falls off immediately indicates watering time has arrived, while soggy soil that forms mud on the stick means drainage problems or overwatering issues need attention. Timing these tests becomes part of daily morning routines in Amish households, usually performed before animal feeding and other farm chores begin. This consistent schedule helps gardeners develop instincts about watering needs while catching problems before they become serious. Different soil mixes require slight adjustments to the technique, but the basic principle remains reliable across various growing media types. The stick method also reveals soil compaction issues that affect root development and water penetration. Soil that resists stick insertion or feels overly dense needs loosening or amendment with organic matter. This simple diagnostic tool provides multiple types of information about growing conditions while costing absolutely nothing to implement or maintain. Test old seeds first. Seed viability testing prevents wasted effort and disappointing germination rates when using stored seeds from previous seasons. Amish families routinely test older seeds by placing 10 representative samples on damp paper towels inside sealed plastic bags for 5 to 7 days. This simple germination test reveals exactly how many seeds from each batch will likely sprout, allowing gardeners to adjust planting densities accordingly. The testing process creates controlled conditions that mimic ideal germination environments while using minimal seeds for evaluation. Paper towels provide consistent moisture without waterlogging, while sealed bags maintain humidity levels that encourage sprouting. Room temperature conditions work perfectly for most vegetable seeds, though some varieties benefit from slightly warmer environments during testing. The old seeds decided to prove they still had some life left in them, like retired athletes making a comeback. Results interpretation requires counting sprouted seeds after the testing period and calculating percentages to determine viability rates. Seeds showing 70% or higher germination rates remain viable for normal planting densities. Lower percentages require increased seeding rates to achieve desired plant populations, while very poor results suggest replacement seeds are necessary. This advanced testing also reveals which seed batches should be planted first, ensuring older seeds get used before viability drops further. Storage conditions dramatically affect seed longevity, with properly stored seeds maintaining viability much longer than those exposed to temperature fluctuations or moisture. The small investment of time and seeds for testing prevents major disappointments during crucial planting windows when replacement seeds may not be available. Store seeds in metal tins. Proper seed storage determines viability for years beyond the original harvest, making container selection crucial for maintaining germination rates over time. Metal cookie tins and old lunch boxes provide superior protection compared to paper packets or plastic bags that allow moisture penetration and pest access. Amish families have discovered that metal containers create nearly airtight environments that preserve seed quality while keeping out mice, insects, and humidity that destroy stored seeds. The storage environment requires cool, dry conditions that metal containers help maintain through their insulating properties and moisture barriers. Basement storage areas or cool pantries provide ideal temperature stability, avoiding the extreme fluctuations that attics and garages experience seasonally. Temperature swings cause condensation inside containers, creating conditions that encourage mold growth and seed deterioration even in sealed environments. Organization systems using masking tape labels marked with pencil provide permanent identification that won't smudge or fade over time. Each container should include seed type, variety name, and harvest year to ensure proper rotation and usage planning. Dating becomes especially important when storing multiple years of the same variety, allowing gardeners to use older seeds first while they retain maximum viability. The metal tins finally found their purpose protecting seeds instead of just collecting dust and storing buttons. Desiccant packets placed inside containers absorb residual moisture that could damage seeds during long-term storage. Rice grains wrapped in coffee filters work as homemade moisture absorbers, providing the same protection as commercial desiccants while using readily available materials that cost virtually nothing to implement. Wax-dipped peat pots. Biodegradable peat pots often dry out too quickly during seed starting, but a thin wax coating slows moisture loss while maintaining their ability to decompose naturally in garden soil. Amish gardeners discovered this technique when dealing with dry winter air that rapidly removes moisture from porous pot materials. The wax treatment creates a semi-permeable barrier that reduces water evaporation without completely sealing the pot walls. The dipping process involves melting candle wax or paraffin in a double boiler setup and quickly coating the bottom portions of peat pots before the wax hardens. Only the lower third of each pot needs treatment, since this area experiences the most moisture loss through bottom drainage and contact with air. The thin coating allows roots to penetrate when ready, while providing moisture retention during critical germination periods. Wax selection affects both effectiveness and environmental impact of this technique. Natural beeswax provides excellent moisture barriers while remaining completely biodegradable, though it costs more than petroleum-based alternatives. Paraffin wax works effectively and costs less, while still breaking down naturally in soil over time. Old candles provide economical wax sources, requiring only removal of wicks and colored additives before melting. The treated pots maintain their biodegradable properties while solving the primary weakness of standard peat containers. Root systems still penetrate the wax coating when plants are ready for transplanting, but soil moisture stays more consistent during the vulnerable seedling stage. This modification transforms problematic peat pots into reliable growing containers that combine the benefits of biodegradable materials with the moisture retention of plastic alternatives. The slow grow secret. Patience produces stronger plants than speed when it comes to successful seed starting and transplanting. Amish gardening philosophy emphasizes long-term plant health over quick results, recognizing that gradual development creates resilient plants capable of handling outdoor stresses that kill rushed seedlings. This approach requires resisting the urge to push plants faster than their natural development rates allow, focusing instead on consistent care that builds robust root systems and strong stems. Temperature management plays a crucial role in slow grow success, maintaining moderate conditions that encourage steady development rather than rapid spurts followed by weakness. Seedlings grown too warm develop weak stems and poor root systems that struggle when moved to cooler outdoor conditions. Consistent temperatures in the 65 to 75 degree range produce stockier, stronger plants that transplant successfully without setbacks. The hardening off process becomes especially important when following slow grow principles, gradually exposing plants to outdoor conditions over 7 to 10 days before final transplanting. This acclimatization period allows plants to adjust their internal systems to handle temperature fluctuations, wind stress, and different light conditions that outdoor gardens provide. Skipping this process often results in transplant shock that sets plants back weeks or kills them entirely. The plants decided that slow and steady really does win the race, especially when the finish line is a productive garden. Root development receives priority over top growth in successful slow grow programs, ensuring plants have the foundation needed to support vigorous growth once established in garden soil. Strong root systems also provide better drought tolerance and nutrient uptake capacity that translates into higher yields and healthier plants throughout the growing season. While the world chases high-tech gardening gear, the Amish prove that wisdom, patience, and a few everyday items are more than enough. These simple tricks remind us that great gardens often start with humble beginnings and a little old-fashioned know-how.